leaders of who we are. Atlantans, never far from greatness. Atlantis, kings, we are restless, bold to mold of divinity, for a unity of our royalness. Queen Empress, Nichel Anderson. We stand tall, never fall to the rise with wings of Atlanta. Atlantans, we forever stand tall. Atlantis, never been, we rise to never end. We are the Atlantans. Hey yo, Queen Empress, Nichel Anderson, far of great Atlantis, sea of gold. We mold, others fall while we hold. Power breakers, power makers. We sing glory, we mangle for all the singles. Yeah, manifest, bounty, success. Never
Welcome
rest.
everyone, this is Nichel Anderson and I'm your host for my podcast show, Surviving Your Journey Towards Success. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am looking forward to getting this wrapped up for my season 8. I am so excited of the ability and the blessing that I received, that I'm able to do this podcast for this long. Year 8 has been very abundantly wonderful. Okay. And I was able to connect with people, on my journey. This is therapeutic for me doing this podcast show. So I'm so grateful for those that can connect to my testimonies, to my strategies. It all started this podcast show that I do talk about. But if you just joining me or you're just started to kind of connect with my podcast show this year, this show here started from my book, Corporate America, Surviving Your Journey Towards Success. And on my Twitter, actually, when I started just posting these snippets or these quotes that's related to surviving the journey, either in the workplace or at home, I thought to create a podcast about it 8 years ago, and it just kind of took off. And I'm so happy. Do check out my episode 1 series, my show 1, my first year. Episode 8, 9, several of them. All of them are good, of course, but that kind of brings you to where I'm at today, that I'm not going to tear up. I'm going to just keep smiling because it's a wonderful accomplishment. I made sure that all these years that I will release episodes on time. So I'm grateful and thankful that I'm able to do that. It's hard to do. It's an accomplishment. So to me, that's my trophy. The other thing is I'm happy about that I'm able to still grow and learn, heal, as well as being a survivor, as growing up in a very toxic, abusive, all of those negative things I experienced as a child, and to be able to fast forward to motivate someone else where I didn't have anybody, y'all, I would say, person there to really help me to get me out of that situation. I didn't know who was the ones that was really there to reach out. I didn't have anyone. Now I look back, it was really only one person, and for whatever reason, the universe knows, that was always blocked. So as a child, you don't know who to trust. You're always trying to avoid the situation and, try to make peace. But you can't make peace with those that are insane and miserable. And to get through that, and that's what I did. And I made it through high school. Then I started attracting those that were sociopaths. Can you believe it? I didn't know what that term was still. I didn't understand it. There was no books when I was growing up, except I always gravitated to books when I was around them as a child, in particular when I got older. And that was my saving grace, because that helped me to connect with a more higher intellect to explain what I was experiencing. And there was a giving. And that's one of my other mentors, Maya Angelou. When someone shows you who they are, you believe them. And I used to repeat that over and over. So she became my surrogated mother. With that respect of all her writings and her poems and her story, her journey. And that helped me to connect what I was missing. And then when I got older, God continued to be the mother and father of me. And that helped me to kind of not be lost in that painful cycle, and to move forward and aim for success, be success. So Corporate America, Surviving Your Journey Towards Success It's a lot of roots to how I came about writing that out of college, working in corporate America, dealing with all of that. So when we look at today's episode and my finale of episode 8, which is a powerful number, that's my abundantly blessing that I made it through. That's my expertise, not by having an MBA, but by having the journey and surviving it. And on top of that, with a cherry on top, that's the very word I should say. Cherries are good, y'all, for your body and whatever, and it tastes good, is to be able to share that, to want to share, to keep the wisdom and not share it, and to give. On my Twitter page, I still call it Twitter, but I have the sunflower. Sunflower is all about giving. So in this episode, my finale, episode 138, how to stay loyal to yourself for mental peace. And that's because I didn't really plan what I just said in this opening. This is raw. This is me doing my podcast show and getting into my finale today. And it's just coming from the heart. It tells me that the universe wanted me to share that, wanted to share more of my personal journey and the breakthroughs that I have. So for those that are in it and think I can't get out of it, trust me, you can. You just keep going forward. So let me say my prayer today of my finale show of season 8. Welcome, survivors of the journey. Okay, welcome, my survivors of the journey, to my podcast that aims to inspire and motivate that you will continue to have joyfulness in your heart, peace of mind, and for your sustained success. So what I started that really became my podcast by today is how to stay loyal to yourself for mental peace. For me, as a child, I had to smile again. I talked about that in my episode January of this year. Check that out and share it. I had to find something to laugh about because they always want to put you in fear. If they put you in fear, they can control you. If they can control you, you don't have a happy journey. So I had to stay loyal to who I was. And that was now understanding the statement that was made when I was like 5 or 6 or 7. I think even younger than that I was different. But what the person had said that should have been, your family, we love you, but couldn't, was basically saying, I see God in you. That's what really was the coded message, that I could not figure it out. I kept saying I didn't have anything. I couldn't understand why, I'm being treated this way. And then the statement to be said, when you're buying what I have, I don't get it. But what that was the happiness in me to be able to look at myself and accept, to understand the respect that I deserve. And even though I'm not being respected, I'm not going to say that I continue to not be respected. I'm going to still strive. So sometimes they even feel and can see your future, and they talk that way to you. So how you can stay loyal to that is keeping your state of mind in check, in balance, and finding a happier place. So let me get to my wisdom point today. My wisdom point today is that are loyal to who you are when you speak the truth. You are loyal to yourself to sustain and receive mental peace when you aim for it. That's why in my prayer I say for you to aim and to focus basically on what you need, which is mental peace. Without peace of the mind, it's a very painful experience. So you have to choose if that's what you want. And if it's not, then you have to stay loyal. Loyal is the word consistency. Sometimes people say the pattern of behavior. So you have to orchestrate that in a way that you are loyal. So if your body needs that quiet time, you give it. If your body needs not to be around certain people, do it. When your mind needs to be silent because it's doing, thousands of things, you take a break and you do that to get the mental peace you seek. So now we're going to get into my wisdom point segment, and your top 3 things today is, number 1, you're going to keep a journal of the things that you need, that you will keep in line to your goals, going to set that's related to health or related to your friendship, your friends, or your love life, right? You want to bring about good energy, so take account of the deeds that you do. You want it to be good deeds and not negative deeds. Regarding your career, is that something that you still need to stay in or you don't? Your career is very important because that's least, if not by the family, 80% of your stress level. Whatever it is, you're keeping a journal of what things you can do to be accountable of your role. I know some people say, well, I prayed to this or I meditated that and it didn't happen. And I always say to them, but what did you do? So like, for the example of my testimony growing up, I had to get back up and motivate myself because the person or the people had one agenda, and that was to make me feel less than I am. And that's all destruction. That's all take. And so I had to look myself in the mirror like I'm still beautiful. Not about the physical, because I know that I am in the name of the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. But inside of who I was, because that's what that statement was as a child. You're different, better, what the person was saying than they are. You like certain things and all of this stuff that didn't make sense. But what they was looking at and what they was humming on was my energy. And so when you can have energy that makes you evolve, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing because that's what they want. The second point of my wisdom point today is you're going to monitor your patterns by using the journal that I just mentioned to allow you to tweak it a bit. So if you're doing a little bit of this and you should do a little bit of that, that's not giving you worth, not giving you mental peace, that you're not calm and relaxed, you got to remove that. So that helps you to keep an alignment. So every 3 or 4 days you check your journal, check your behavior, what you're notating that you're doing. I'm not really focused today about what someone else has done, because that'll take all day and most of them ain't gonna change. This is who they are. But this is about you monitoring what you're doing to stay loyal, to stay consistent. So number 3, and I had talked about this in a couple of episodes in my season 8, being silent. Silence is being loyal to yourself. That offers a way to listen in what is not serving you. This can be reading your journal notes or listening to soothing music that your thoughts can flow. It is an actual, like a 360, I like to say, a wrap around to the top 2 that I just mentioned, where we take time for ourselves. Write that down. Take time for yourself. All right. Make a commitment that you're just silent. That's a very powerful healing when there's no sound around you, just in your quiet mode. That's a powerful stance. That's why people do that doing yoga and meditation, because it elevates their energy. And that's what I feel is a good wisdom point to hone on and for you to choose to listen and use it. So now we're going to move to our next segment, which is your task to dust to dime. And all of this year I focus on visualization, which is powerful, because what you don't see doesn't mean that it won't be. And here in the States, in church we say, in the Bible we say, walk by faith, not by sight. So when you do that, visualize yourself having that mental peace. Visualize yourself accomplishing things, feeling good, waking up and feeling like, ooh, wonderful. You can do that. All right. And carry that into the summer and into my next season, season 9. How about that? Okay. That came out of nowhere. Okay. So your motivational takeaway today is always keep a journal or a notepad to record your thoughts and needs, to measure if you met that goal, to being loyal to yourself and what you need to get mental peace. And that's your loyalty meter, the journal. And it's very therapeutic. This right here, the podcast show, is healing me for the horrendous treatment, huge disrespect that I endured as a child, as a young teenager, as a teenager, even as an adult, until God finally said, guess what, like Moses, it's over. Can I get a hallelujah? Thank you, y'all. I appreciate you so much tuning into my podcast show. Do check out when I check in during the summer and when I return back in September of this year, 2025, starting my year 9. I appreciate everyone. Do check out my website, check out my book, leave a review. I am still in that mix to start a webinar where I can have these motivational sections with live groups. Do check out my website, sign up for my newsletter when that goes out, and book you a seat. How about that? All right, love y'all, and y'all have a wonderful summer. Thank you so much. My season 8 wrap up of finale. I hope you got some good gems and use it and claim your happiness. All right, talk to y'all in the next one. Bye, y'all.